Hopefully, can you hear the train going by in the background? Maybe that will happen occasionally. Sorry. And Johnny should be here this week, I think.
Yes, he's here.
Oh, good. Excellent. Yeah, I couldn't hear him in the background or anything. Maybe he's just hugging the other.
You want to say hi?
Hey! 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 Oh, we've gotten 100 new subscribers. That's nice. It's a good start. I'm streaming already, but I have no idea about the quality of this. Good morning. Oh, look. Hey, it works. The output is incredibly low quality-wise, and I apologize, chat room, because... Oh, and how's the audio coming to Chicago? Is it okay? Is it quiet? Yes. Is it volume okay?
It's fine.
Okay, good. All right.
And you got 1 minute.
Okay, perfect. I'm afraid that if I use too many devices, I'll end up slowing down my internet feed. I know. Recept, I know you saw Gene yesterday, Lucky. TikTok.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Things are going to start happening to me now.
Live exclusively for WCPT AM and FM in Chicago and streaming worldwide at chicagosprogressivetalk.com. Standing up and speaking out, here's Hal Sparks.
All right, you primitive screwheads, listen up.
Go do the vibes.
Well, here we are. This is Johnny Million. Welcome back to the show, by the way. You were sorely missed in the lead up to the last debate. The stalking.
I actually made it through this one. I watched it.
Debating with the enemy, I called it. Starring Julia Roberts and a giant circus peanut. This was
I had a great time following that one on Twitter because I didn't go to the hashtag. I just followed my feed.
Oh, yeah.
And so people I didn't expect to comment on it were commenting on it. Like Chloe Bennett from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was remarkably well-spoken and intuitive and had offered great insight. It was awesome.
Yeah. Well, the fascinating part to me is in any circumstance, there are 15, I at last count. I'm sure in a softer era, say the 1970s or early 1980s, there are 100 things that Trump has said or done that would disqualify him as a candidate in general, but definitely as a Republican, especially on the illusion of
100? 100 is really low.
I'm going by measurable, recorded, no secondary way of interpreting it. Like,
okay.
I'm
with you there.
Yeah. And so even in this cycle, even let's say Romney, Obama, let's talk about Gore, Bush, the disqualifying factor of saying that a judge can't be fair in a courtroom because he has Mexican heritage would be even in a time where the society was not as friendly, let's just say, as it's becoming, to Hispanic, Latino, and immigrant Americans in general. That would be extraordinary. It's just uttering that thought out loud it would often get you fired from a normal CEO job, much less running for president. Like that. And the funny thing is, because of the last week, maybe 8 days, that sounds positively quaint by comparison. It sounds like an out of context quote from Strom Thurmond from 1964. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's this, and again, there are dozens and dozens of these things. Now, did you have the same kind of moment of, I would say last week of August, where Trump was on prompter, behaving,
it's terrifying.
Kellyanne Conway was proving herself to be the Trump whisperer.
Yeah,
She
I did
was
not like that.
And believe me, not for a second did I believe he was changed as a human being, but I was like, oh, this woman knows how to manipulate this circumstance, and they're going to present a version of him that will widen his base. And as nuts as he is, and as racist as he is, and as sexist as he is, they're cloaking it very well.
Yeah.
There was I would say 10 days where I was like, uh-oh. And then she had pneumonia, and they were using that as a weapon. They'd been pushing this whole thing about her, being secretly ill,
right?
For months, from an Alex Jones standpoint. And understand that there's almost like the Republican presidential campaign, since Trump effectively took over the process, has run itself more like a series of military psyops and propaganda as opposed to a campaign.
Speaking of that, have you seen the I think it's every 4 years they take that footage from, there's some Hitler movie where he's in a bunker with all of his top aides,
right?
And speaking in very angry German, and they choose different subtitles depending on what the hot current event is.
Yeah, I want to say
this one.
Is it from Inglourious Bastards? Is that the part where he's just going 999?
I don't know if it's from Inglourious Bastards. It very well could be, but he gets very upset and asks a bunch of people to leave. And what they do is everybody who disagreed with me, who said that Trump couldn't win, or people who also were on my side saying that Trump couldn't win, you can leave. And so all these people leave, and there are 4 people left. And he starts yelling at them saying, "You told me that she had Parkinson's. You said Alex Jones told you that he had Parkinson's.
We have the documents. She's a demon from hell. She's I love it. It saddened me a little bit that Alex Jones gets elevated to being spoken about by Obama making the joke by smelling himself to see if he smells like sulfur, because it's absurd. You know what I mean? And it's a little bit like, bringing Bill O'Reilly back in his hard copy or Inside Edition days. I forget which one of those shows he was on. It's the same thing to me, anyways. But it was funny, and it was a necessary act in many ways because of the incredible, just the inflated nature of our current political discourse. And that's what I'm talking about. Is like the overall propaganda idea of the Republican Party right now, that it is operating on a message that is not true, and they know it. There's always been this...
Clap your hands.
There's always been this duality that this biphrenic nonsense in the Republican Party, which is, we are the party of family values who doesn't want S-chip. We don't want childhood health insurance programs for the poor. We are the pro-life, pro-death penalty giant military party. We are the party of Jesus Christ and his grace, and we need to nuke the Middle East and turn it to glass. That they've always had a problem juggling these two ideas in their heads. This is consistent for the last, since largely Reagan. I mean, I think there was a little bit of wiggle room in the 60s where the left and the right started to bear themselves out. As far as how they felt about military interventions and how they felt towards, you feel towards Vietnam. But now we've kind of grown into the logical conclusion of both parties. The logical conclusion of the Democratic Party over the last, say, 35 years is that we eventually nominated and elected the first black president, and we are about to nominate and elect the first woman president. And that's the pathway the Democratic Party has been on for a long time. Now, you can say that her quote unquote coziness with Wall Street is problematic or what have you, but that really falls still in the zone of center right Democrat in many ways, which is far left to the Republican Party. And you can say that Obama was less of a pure candidate that you were hoping for, as far as the advertising went. That
Right.
hope doesn't look like that to you in some ways when it comes to drone strikes or dealing with how the bailout was handled or whatever. But still, within the measure, both of these candidates were people who operated as normal presidents. They are operating as candidates for president and presidents themselves who are going, yeah, there's compromises to be made here. I have different ideas from some of my base followers. I will do my best to kind of straddle that line. It's going to be hard sometimes, but I'm going to move the agenda forward. Pretty straightforward. The problem with the at some point, and I think it was really that Reagan, the worst word someone can say to you is, I'm from the government and I'm here to help you, which, tell that to somebody in a hurricane zone during, when they need FEMA.
That's a good line.
Yeah, it's catchy, and it absolutely, that phrase literally elbowed out John 3:16 in the minds of Republicans. You know what I mean? It literally was like, oh, move over, Jesus. We have a new favorite phrase in the world. This God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, for whosoever believes in him shall not perish but have everlasting life. It's a little chunky for me. I'm going to go, I like this whole, I'm from the government and I'm here to help you is the worst thing anybody can say to you. And that has been, if you carry that message, that idea to its logical conclusion, if you build your party on that idea, the path to it inexorably runs straight to the feet of someone like Donald Trump. This is the culmination. This is not, he didn't do this by accident. This didn't come out of nowhere. These people fostered an environment that protected and coddled the very people who, the Gingriches and the Giulianis of the world, who in their wildest dreams want to be Donald Trump.
Oh, yeah.
And when we come back, I want to talk about the two biggest conflicting image versus reality aspects of Donald Trump. Because there's as these stories come out about women and the stories about his finances come out, they seem to be completely in line with the veneer that is Donald Trump. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll by the way, our chat is up and running. I'm a little low res today, but that's we're still getting a free stream and it's good. On our YouTube channel, don't forget to like and subscribe there. And of course, you're listening to WCPT Chicago's Progressive Talk, AM 820. We'll be back right after this.
Well, I was out on a drive on a bit of a trip, looking for thrills to give me some kicks.
Jessica in the chat room, I just wanted to say real quick, your thing about the next scandal being that she said Trump had great kids. I think she wanted to say daughters. I think in her heart of hearts, if it was all things being equal, she's not a big fan of the sons, who like to go out and hunt big game and all that nonsense. Just they like the Uday and Kusei of the Trump family. But I do say, oh, I'm glad, Tom. Thank you. That I think Hillary wanted to say he has great daughters because her daughter is friends with Ivanka. They were before this. Oftentimes scumminess like that skips a generation, at least in the women. A lot of times, especially if the dad is a little bit of an issue. When wealth is there, a lot of the times the the Paris Hiltons of the world aside, still not mean. You know what I mean? She's just kind of dismissive. But I think she couldn't say, I think she likes his daughter and she's been around. That's the main reason they went to the wedding, you know, and that kind of stuff, because their daughters are friends. I think the Clintons, one of their skills politically is that they can make nice with just about anybody, which is an ugly part of being president and dealing with that for as long as they have. But I think she wanted to say daughters and not, you know, and leave his sons out of it. But you can't do that. If she'd have done it, she would have been brutalized in the press. Anti-male. That would have driven some of the male voters she's trying to get away.
30 seconds.
Cool. Yeah, I agree, Ann. Right.
I don't agree with that in the workplace.
Oh, that was Tiffany's Dodge.
Now back to the Hal Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide, 773-763-9278.
Okay, let's boil this down. I have been, this has been bugging me for quite some
Can I
time.
jump in on why that song was chosen?
Yeah, go ahead, please.
That was because of the debate and
Oh, where he's lurking around.
lurking behind her.
It's a
Yeah,
good one
yeah.
for a video. Yeah, that's.
Yep,
Did
that
you
was
see
Lady
Danny
B's idea.
Elfman put a horror score to
Well,
him stalking
Yeah,
her
let's
at the
make it
debate?
Swear again. That would be amazing. I've got to find that.
It's on Funny or Die. It's a Funny or Die video. They just built this whole thing, and then he
Yeah,
just literally
I think
scored
that
all the
site had
movements.
some funny things on it.
Yeah.
Funny or die.
Yeah. A couple things die, but most of the stuff there is funny.
Yeah, most of it's funny.
Yeah, most of it. There you are. Your volume was down for a little bit, and you're back.
I'm gonna blame the lady.
Oh, no. I think you just got to get better mic
here, lady.
technique. Hello. It's the Trump system. It's spreading. This is the Trumping of America.
That's right.
So here's the issue that I have. Okay. When we talk about how Donald Trump has been financing his campaign himself and how his campaign, by the way, his campaign's been taking donations pretty much all along. In the early part of the primary, he was financing it largely because he didn't have to do anything. He was getting all sorts of free press. He could call into Morning Joe in his pajamas anytime he wanted to. He was already a bigger name because he was on a television show than anybody else on the Diaz, except within Republican circles. And so he didn't have to spend that much. And what he was effectively doing was renting space at his own building out to his campaign and paying his own spaces for campaign events. So effectively, he was paying his own rent and saying, I'm financing my campaign, which is really weird. Then once the donations start coming in, he starts using donor money to do that. So he's effectively paying his bills with donor money coming in for the campaign. Both
And settling lawsuits with that money.
well, that's the charity, and we'll get into that in a minute. So, yeah, that is in line with a behavior set that's been pretty consistent for Donald Trump for a very long time. And as they look into the Trump Foundation, the Donald J. Trump Foundation. The Clinton Foundation is a Clinton Foundation, and it's named for the family name. And it's so that both Chelsea and Hillary and Bill and I guess Shemp and any Clinton that they want to bring in to do some charity work will carry on the lineage of the family, and that's how it goes. The Trump Foundation is the Donald J. Trump Foundation, meaning it's not about the kids, it's all about me. And the rest of the family's a bunch of losers. You guys have to like me. Plus, none of that is his money. Since 2008, he hasn't put any money into his foundation, and all that money that is flowing through his foundation has come from other donors, and he writes a check as if it's from him. And then in many cases, he's using charity money from other people who they think are going to charitable, to people who need it, people in need. And he's using it to pay both his legal bills, his legal fines, and to purchase paintings of himself that he hangs in his own golf courses, which is illegal. which is why the
displaying his face at a golf course is illegal?
Yes, it should be like an indecency fine. But we'll get to those weird butter statues of him naked later. Anyways, so here's the problem I have with this more than anything, is that this is what a broke person does. This is not what a billionaire does. A billionaire running for office who's worth $10 billion, or even as the true measure as far as complete holdings, non-liquid, complete holdings is closer to $2.5 billion, and that's his stake in properties that may not be worth that. He admitted in a deposition in a lawsuit that he determines in his own head how he feels about the investments, and that's how he lists what he's worth, which is
I do like his
magic.
tone in depositions. It's as close as we'll ever get to what he's really like.
Yeah, dull.
But yeah, completely dull and like, all right, I've got to be as close to honest as I ever get right here, or
That's
I
right.
could get into bigger trouble.
With a lawyer within arm's reach that will tap me on the forehead if I say anything outside the
or hit me with a forehand.
That's right. Yeah. Anyways, so this is all the charity stuff, like using. I mean, he paid Pam Bondi, the AG of Florida, who didn't investigate Trump University when she was all going to, and then decided against it. He made a donation to her campaign from his charity, and also gave her an event at his, let her have a fundraiser at his golf course for $5,000. A place that he rented to himself, to his own campaign, for somewhere in the order of like $116,000. Which means that's effectively another $112,000 donation. That's how the SEC does those kind of, FEC rather, does those kind of calculations. Okay, so in terms of that, again, this is what a broke person does. This is what a person who, I mean, the country is full of, by the way, rich people who are pretending to be rich still, who are underwater, who are, can't make the payments on their Benz, but still drive it around, start buying regular gas, are shifting credit card balances to credit card balances. And people do that when they go through low points anyways. That's a fairly standard thing. Everybody who's been rich has been broke and oftentimes rich again. That's life. I have no problem with that. But the illusion that somehow
it's pretty much a white privilege only kind of problem, though.
It totally is. Yeah. Although the guy from Rich Dad, Poor Dad is, this is one of his systems. And he's not.
Oh, yeah. That guy who like revolutionized economics for the regular guy.
Yeah. But by doing real estate, how to get rich in real estate, seminars before he'd ever bought any real estate, and used the money from those seminars to buy real estate. So wagging the dog is the preferred real estate system. He's the guy who said that Trump was down $1 billion before that news came out. He says it in his book in Rich Dad Poor Dad. So anyways, point being is Trump says he's rich but behaves like somebody who is broke.
Yeah.
Okay? He also presents himself as a ladies' man, but behaves as a person who has to take all the sex he gets. Does that make sense? Like he has this illusion he likes to present to people like Howard Stern and Billy Bush that he's this Casanova, and that women just kind of have to, they just faint in his arms like Frankenstein, and he can do what he will with them because that's how
screen. He spends a lot of time screening the calls of all the Hollywood starlets who can't get enough of him.
Right, that's right. That he's just so desirable that they just can't, and they have no recourse. Why would they have any? Why would they?
Right.
And that's it's almost like that character in Fast Times at Ridgemont High, the character, the long-haired dude who was giving everybody advice on how to get laid and
about the high school girls. They just keep coming out with new ones.
Yeah, no, that's Dazed and Confused. Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Basically, it's a classic kind of concept of the guy who brags a lot about how he is with the ladies, gives everybody advice, but is still a virgin and is terrible. Starts stammering and pees his pants. Like that kind of idea. It's like this weird. It's Trump has clearly the mentality of a 15-year-old with daddy issues, and it plays out in both of these areas. And money and sex, in many ways, are very much aligned in people's sense of self-worth. If you can't get any of either, it hits you in the gut, is the idea.
Mm-hmm.
And the overall reality that seems to be coming up is that he's short on both all the time.
Yeah.
And he acts towards both the same way. He pretends he gets more than he does, and when he does get stuff, he takes it unfairly.
Ugh.
Like, he looks at sex almost like the way he looks at taxes. You know what I mean? Like, if you can get in there however you get in there, you get in there. It's not, if you can get away with it, it's the same as not being guilty. It's the same as it not being morally questionable. But they're both aligned in this guy. And again, in any normal election cycle, this never would have come up. We never would have really known this about Trump, or quite frankly cared, because he was kind of a low-rent television host with some real estate holdings and a brand that, through a luck of the family, gave him a lot of money to start off, and a name that sounds like poker. And yeah, watch it. When we come back, we're gonna
even know her.
Yeah, right. That never stopped him. Ew. Yeah, when we come back, ew. And then we're going to talk about what Hillary Clinton did this week. She actually gave some speeches on healthcare and economics. Yeah, like real presidential stuff, like actual candidacy.
If I were her, I would spend this week just getting drunk and watching C-SPAN.
No.
Just
because this has to be an embarrassing trouncing. Not just because he's going to lose, but because the Republican Party deserves the beating they're going to get, in the election cycle for allowing this to happen, because they facilitated
it. He's blaming the Republicans for the whole. He's saying that it's a conspiracy that they devised against him.
That's the beautiful. We'll talk about that. That's almost the happy ending. That's the most fun part of the whole week.
They're not gonna vote down ballot now, because those are the evil people too.
That's right. That's right.
Thank you.
I'm beginning to think that whole thing about him being a Clinton psyop and that they dosed him at the wedding and Manchurian candidate him. There might be something to that. But
What's the trigger word?
Yeah, Alex Jones will never bring that up because it makes the Clintons look too capable. We'll be back right after this. It's the House Sparks Radio program, Mega Worldwide on WCPT 820. Yeah, Hillary is actually practicing for the debate today, yeah, I guess later today and tomorrow. She's going to hang out at home, and then yeah, it has to be a landslide. It has to be it has to be embarrassing. I will agree with Kiyosaki that we need more self-employment in this economy. Yeah, my problem is, so what? Who doesn't say that? Tony Robbins says that without telling you how to game the system. I was watching The Rifleman and forgot about you guys. Didn't the star of The Rifleman end up broke and doing gay porn? I'm not kidding. That was one of the. It was like early 70s. That became kind of a big story that he had a scandalous video. It was like one of the first. Big Hollywood sex scandals. Him and Hogan's Heroes. Grope and change. That's hilarious. How do you practice debate a crazy bit? That's what we're going to talk about when we come back. Yeah, Chuck Connors. I'm pretty sure. I want to say Chuck Connor had a sex tape way back in the day, like shot on like 16 millimeter film. Yeah, 1940s gay stag film with Chuck Connors. This might have been before he was, uh, yeah, before he actually, yeah, Bob Crane. I mean, did you ever see? I think it was called Fast Forward.
1 minute.
Mm. So nuts.
This is Tom Hartman, and you're listening to the Hal Sparks radio program, mega worldwide on Chicago's Progressive Talk, WCPT.
So Donald Trump, in an attempt to bring himself back from the precipice created by the first debate, decides he's going to go all in, and he's going to bring four of Bill Clinton's accusers. From
so awkward.
It was so awkward and gross to the actual debate. Now, let's establish a really quick baseline. No woman, no woman is to blame for her husband's infidelities.
Period.
And no woman is required when someone she has been married to for decades is accused by someone of doing something that she either doesn't believe he did or believes that there's a secondary story to it, to automatically go against him. It's one of the reasons why our legal system says, wives and husbands don't have to testify against each other, that there's a certain level of privacy in the relationship. But the idea is that she as someone's wife or husband, you can give them the benefit of the doubt and think they're being attacked unfairly. You can also know full well that your husband has affairs, be okay with it unless he gets caught. That is how some relationships work, and that's the business of the people who are in them. Now, that being said, what the attempt to tie Hillary Clinton to Bill Clinton's sexual misgivings, if you believe that they were rapes or sexual assaults, or if you believe that these things are fabricated, the attempt to tie her to them was ham-handed at best. But the baseline idea is that she attacked these women. That this shows her leadership and who she is that she said they were not to be believed, and that she, effectively, by downplaying their stories or not believing them herself, she was essentially she was an enabler of these things, and she was, what points out that she's dangerous, awful, evil, demonic, smells like sulfur, and all that nonsense was the very fact that she attacked these women when they accused her husband of these things. Now, let's be abundantly clear. You can have that opinion of Hillary Clinton, and you can present that as your case if you believe that is so. You can't, however, expect anybody to take it seriously if when people start attacking you, not your mate, but you yourself, of similar behavior or worse, and your response is, she would have not been my first choice.
Right.
They're ugly and unattractive. Hey, you looked at them.
He perpetuates the news cycle in the most toxic way.
Yeah.
By trying to defend himself with he's got a list like one of those diagrams, like a decision diagram.
Yeah,
of
a Gantt chart or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, what is the worst possible response to this in a civilized society?
Yeah.
And he picks the worst one every time.
Worst thing to say in pleasant company, circle. Worst thing to say in politics, circle.
Yes.
Where's the overlap? I'll say that.
Oh, right, yeah, it's got to be both.
Oh, yeah. Oh, wait, and worst thing to say in front of children. We'll put that in there. Like, he's got an Olympic rings Gantt chart where all of them kind of singe together into, how will I eat this? And here's the thing. Like I said, if you're going to make the case about anything about your opponent, you have to be able to hold a moral high ground on that very area.
That's the whole idea.
That's essentially the root of what was the family values movement of the Republican Party for a very long time. Notwithstanding that Ronald Reagan, that Patty was effectively that pre-marriage as a baby, as it were. The Reagans were a long-standing couple who became a paragon of long-standing relationships, that they were indicative of a faithful family, right? And the same thing to some degree with George H.W. Bush. There was a rumor at one point that he was having an affair, if you'll remember, his what would be his Camilla Parker Bowles moment, effectively, which in many ways people believed led us to the wag the dog in Iraq. Bill Clinton, same.
That name, Camilla Parker Bowles, just sounds like a sentence, like a matter of fact.
Yeah, right. She does.
Parker Bowles.
She enjoys it.
She's a scratch bowler.
Lawn bowling, right. And then the essence of, Clinton's issue was the Republicans were having a really hard time with how he was managing the economy because it was actually working, and Democrats were starting to get toeholds on their social programs. Obviously, Hillary was pushing for single payer initially and a kind of, a universal coverage at the very least. And what she ended up with was S-chip. But the Republicans staked their identity on, we're taking this couple down. We're going to destroy them. This will be it. And she's our way in. And so essentially, then we get to, George Bush, back to, the Christianity concept, that he and his wife been together for a long time. They have a regular family. They're, this is his only marriage, that kind of idea. A little more in line with their personal picture. And all, damned. Yeah. And all along the way, right. All along the way, looking at the family values climate, almost restored in some ways, Reagan to Bush, that kind of idea, that they had a real handle on that message. Anyways, keep in mind, all the while, Newt Gingrich is having to step down because his affair came to light right as he was trying to impeach the president for that very thing. That the person that they replaced him with, Hastert, has been paying people he's sexually molested for decades. The longest running Speaker of the House and a Republican. The Mark Foley scandal also happened during that time, where they had the Republican in charge of the Page program was sending sexts to them. This is the Republican
That is
Party
so
again,
rough.
running on Christianity, running on family values. I have no problem if that's what you're running on, but you have to understand that's the standard you're held to. And the Democrats in many ways have been running almost on an idea of, look, nobody's perfect except maybe Obama. That's
Right. Definitely Michelle.
Yeah, definitely Michelle. And we have some audio from her if you haven't seen it. But at some point, and I think it had to do with like Newt Gingrich's rise back into presidential politics, the Republicans gave up entirely on the illusion of family values. And with Trump,
They had to.
It was a necessity.
Mm-hmm.
And the awkward part is they have been running against, in the case of Barack Obama, a family man who's been married to the same woman, has 2 lovely daughters, who is a
secretly gay married.
Sure, right, and she's secretly a man, right? This is the story that they have to run against them. Understand this? Is,
right.
I mean, and Trump hangs
They have
out.
to go to absolute crazy town. To compete with
that, right? And then in terms of Hillary Clinton. You attack your opponent's strength, and her strength in many ways is from the point of view of a lot of women, but also a lot of Americans in general, is that she stood by him. On the one hand, you could say that she should have left. You should have
Does he have an FCC license? That guy in the background?
No, he does not.
Okay.
He does not. He may say stuff that's untoward. I don't have a dump button, which is entirely different when you have a 5-year-old. A 5-year-old's dump button.
He's got a dump
He
button.
does. He totally does. When we come back, I want to talk about what actually Hillary did this week, and of course we'll take a break right now so I can go give my son some more
Hit the
food.
dump button.
That's right, hit the dump button. And when we come back after that, and then top of the next hour, we're going to take everybody's calls, 773-763-9278. And I want to talk a little bit about this, that Trump is now it is now a circular firing squad at the Republican Party. And as a Democrat, having gone through, trying to get the Affordable Care Act passed and all these other things, it's nice to see the other side doing the circular firing squad for once.
Yep.
Theirs is really violent, though. Ours is kind of a metaphorical one. Theirs might actually turn into a real one. It's concerning.
Right.
We'll be back. It's the Hal Sparks Radio program, Mega Worldwide, with 100% more Johnny Million this week. At JMillion on Twitter. Don't forget to give him a follow. I'm at Hal Sparks. Use the hashtag HSRPM. We'll be back. And we're back. Come on, man. Yeah. Hey, Johnny, can you see if she can find the "Come on, man" stuff? Come on, man. You're going to be the working... Come on, man. That was so funny.
30 seconds.
Mm-hmm. Let's see if this.
This is Tom Hartman, and you're listening to the Hal Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide on Chicago's Progressive Talk, WCPT.
Because he's getting some support from some working folks. and I want to say to him, look, if a guy spent 70 years on this earth showing no regard for working people, there's no record that he's supported minimum wage or supported collective bargaining or invested in poor communities, and then suddenly he's going to be the champion of working people? Come on, man. Apparently in a speech yesterday, he started talking about global elites, that there was a conspiracy of global elites. This is a guy who spent all his time hanging around trying to convince everybody he was a global elite. Talking about how great his buildings are, and how luxurious and how rich he is, and flying around everywhere. And all he had time for was celebrities. And now suddenly he's acting like he's a populist out there. Man, I'm going to fight for working people. Come on, man. You want to know what somebody's going to do? Look what they've been doing their whole lives.
Oh, it's so good. Come on, man.
I am going to miss that man.
He's going to be a great head of the UN.
If Jimmy Carter could come off a one-term rough presidency and be the amazing man he's been, imagine what Obama will do.
And Jimmy Carter is effectively an introvert in reality, like just on a personality level. But Obama is not.
He does not seem happy about giving speeches.
No. I mean, he's much better at giving interviews, talking about the actual issue, which is fine, by the way. It's the difference between, leadership in the grand kind of kingly concept and leadership in terms of getting stuff done. I think Carter was much better at, I'm a leader in context of, we're not all standing on a hill like Braveheart. I don't need to scream at you to get you to do what you need to do, but I can sit in this room and get people to work together to accomplish stuff.
Freedom.
Come on, man.
Come on.
I just want a sample of that just to play like really loud on a bullhorn at Trump events. Just have a big...
just after every time he says, believe me.
Come on, man.
Come on, man.
It is, and here's the thing. Trump's big thing right now is, this idea, and Obama touched on this, like this global elite. Again, pretending to be rich, pretending that he is in this upper echelon, making passes at other people's wives because he can't earn a relationship of his own. It's super weird.
Just knowing someone's married and going all in like that.
Yeah.
Offering to buy someone furniture. I don't want to buy anybody furniture. I don't want to go furniture shopping for myself.
Right, yeah.
Try to use it as a reason to get into someone's pants. Hey, I just bought you that sideboard over there, huh?
I'm sure this dude has
These
sugar
pants aren't gonna
daddied.
take themselves off.
I'm sure this guy has sugar daddied 4 or 5 people over the course of his life. And if people want to get in an arrangement with somebody like that, that's their business. The part I have an issue with is that all the while that's going on, and you have a wife, and you have children, and your wife is pregnant. You're doing all that stuff and clearly not with an okay from them. It's If people want to have open relationships or do whatever they want, that's fine. If people want to...
Right, yeah, that's their
my
thing.
my
Whatever.
problem with Trump is not the words he uses, it's the order he puts them in and the ideas that espouses.
That's pretty key.
You know what I mean?
He knows all the best words.
He does. I have all the best words. I put them in the scariest order. Just tremendous. Like people just run.
I know all the best words.
I know. I went to all the best schools. That's why, I know the working man. Here you go. Here's a little specialty from this guy. Let's see if I can get it to actually play. Where is he? Nope, not playing. I don't know why. Oh, it's a lady. Maybe you can pull this up. It's Trump complains election is rigged as his polling tanks. That's a decent story to have 3 weeks out from an election.
Yeah, that's exactly what he's got to do. I mean, when things weren't looking good before August, when he was just struggling anyway, and like before he got Kellyanne Conway on board, he was starting to say, "I'm afraid this election is going to be stolen from us. I'm calling for all of you to be independent election monitors."
Yeah, which means go open carry and scare off anybody who doesn't look white from the polling place. That's what that means. That's this is his tweets. You have to imagine the small hands. Hillary Clinton should have been prosecuted and should be in jail. Instead, she is running for president in what looks like a rigged election. It's a rigged election, folks. We say rigged election. This election is being rigged. I say rigged. We use the word rigged. They're rigging it. It's being rigged, folks. Okay? It's rigged. We say rigged. That's my favorite thing when they have this, they picked a word they want to hammer in the meeting, and he says it over, it's crooked. We say crooked. It's a crooked. It's a rigged system. We say rigged. Some people say it's rigged. They say it's rigged. We say rigged. This election is being rigged by the media pushing false and unsubstantiated charges. No, actually, false. You have to say that that's a direct denial, and he's denying them. Unsubstantiated, it's debatable. And outright lies well, I don't know if they're outright lies. Outright lies are kind of flagrantly. I'll give you an example of an outright lie. So the last couple of days, Trump and Pence have both been talking about this dude who, we've got evidence.
Oh, the guy who was on the plane?
Yeah, we've got evidence that this is all false. And it'll
be coming out.
Not to be believed, and it's at an appropriate time, in the appropriate moment. We're gonna release this, folks. It's rigged. We say rigged, and it's fake, and it's phony, and it's fake and phony. So the by the way, lest we forget, not all the revelations about him are coming out are simply sexist or purport sexual assault. He also called Lil Jon Uncle Tom when he was on The Apprentice regularly. Staff has worked on the show has confirmed this. So he talked about sleeping with Lindsay Lohan when she was how attractive she was as a minor. All this stuff. But the idea is that they have this guy that they're going to bring out, Gilbert Thorpe or whatever his name was, and he says, I was present the whole time. If anything, she was flirting with him, and when he went to get up to the bathroom, she said she was going to marry him to me. Like, that's what you do. You confide with an 18-year-old in the next seat over that you're going to marry Donald Trump, unless you've just been molested by the guy and he saw it, and you literally turn and make a gallows humor joke where you're like, someday I'm going to marry that fella. Like,
right?
What the hell was that?
Too hard of a pause on this, but Lady B found the clip about the rig. That is fun to hear him.
Yeah, let's hear that real quick, shall we?
The process is rigged. This whole election is being rigged. These lies spread by the media, without witnesses, without backup or anything else, are poisoning the minds of the electorate. No witnesses, no backup, no anything else. And I'm telling you, I have many top professionals. Don't talk about this, Donald. Nobody believes. I said, maybe some do believe it. You have to talk about it. When somebody makes, am I right? When somebody makes an accusation that you did something and you weren't there, you never saw this person before. It's a lie, total lie. It's fabrication. Sometimes they do it for fame. Maybe they get money. Who knows? The Clinton campaign is pushing it. The New York Times did a story on somebody where it was totally false. They knew it was totally false. We gave them the information.
Wow. I mean, essentially, you can't do that if the case you're making against Hillary Clinton is that she denigrates victims and doesn't believe them. Are you still there? Do I hear you? Are you there?
Yeah, yeah.
Did we lose you?
Yeah, no, you're totally right. It was Anderson Cooper had Kellyanne nailed to the wall on that, where they believed every
accuser.
suit that was settled by Bill Clinton out of court is presumed guilt, but all of the suits that Donald Trump has settled, not the same.
Are not an admission of guilt. Yeah, it's right. This double standard, and that's effectively what he's running. He's running to be the president of a double standard America. That there are two Americas, and we're going to make sure that we're going to build a wall between the upper 20% and the bottom 80%, because most of his followers feel they are in the top 20% because they're white. Those guys, male and white, and they think they're in the top 20%. We'll be back. We're going to take some of your calls, 773-763-9278, and we're also going to talk about Gilbert Thorpe, the witness that he brought forward that says it never happened in first class. I was there. I don't have the ticket that proves I was there. I don't have any evidence that I was on that flight. P.S. The scandals in this guy's background are hilarious. We'll be back.
All right, we got to go news it.
Yep. We'll be back. Oh my God, this guy is so funny. Oh my, yeah, the chair humping. Oof. Brutal. Have you guys heard the backstory of Gilbert Thorpe, the guy who is the witness on the plane who says that that Jessica Leeds is lying? Have you seen this by any chance? Oh my God. I literally cracked up watching it. And by the way, big ups to Megyn Kelly all along this way. I was not a fan for a long time, and maybe it was an aspect of like Ailes being there in marching orders, but lately, it's like Vincent D'Onofrio is wearing her skin like in Men in Black, and she's like, "I'm Megan Kelly. Pay no attention to what I said before." She's like a whole new human. Hmm.
1 minute, and we have about 7 callers.
Wow. All right.
You're listening to the Hal Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide.
I've had people walk out of me before, but not when I was being so charming.
Video streaming at halsparks.com.
I don't care for you or for the putrid sludge you're troweling out.
Damn fuss-faced little pimp stick.
True progressive talk.
Might be a good time for you guys to give up.
Welcome back to the show. So, we've got a bunch of callers, and we'll get to them in just a second. I just want to read this little piece about the star witness that Trump and Pence brought forward. And they hyped this dude, that this is going to put this nonsense to bed.
Oh, yeah. This is going to put it all to rest.
This is not surprising coming from Donald Trump as his witness. Like, he thinks this is a credible way of dealing with this problem. This is effectively what most, like, right-wing and alt-righters fear in Sharia law, that what they hate about Islam is that in some Islamic courts, a woman's vote is worth half of a man's, so 2 women have to testify to be equal to a man. That's how Donald Trump, I think it's actually worse. I think it's like, yeah, it's got to be like 35. Anything short of the Cosby number, I don't believe it. Indiana. This is from Huffington Post, but this is it's partly from the Times, from the New York Times and other sources when they're talking about this. Indiana Governor Mike Pence, the Republican vice presidential nominee, vowed on Friday that there was evidence to disprove the many claims of sexual improprieties against his ticket mate Donald Trump. Well, the Trump campaign has made good on its promise, contributing yet another surreal twist to this already stupefying election season. At issue are the allegations of Jessica Leeds. New York Times, she told him this week that he had grabbed her breasts and attempted to reach up her skirt more than 3 decades ago when she was seated next to him in first class on a cross-country flight to New York. He was like an octopus, Leeds told the Times. But enough about his head. Anyway, as the New York Post's Daniel Harper reports, a British man named Anthony Gilbert Thorpe has stepped forward to serve as an exculpatory witness. The man says he was sitting across from the accuser and contacted the Trump campaign because he was incensed by her account, which is at odds with what he witnesses. I've only met this accuser. It's interesting how calling her an accuser, how this already sets the tone. I've only met this accuser once and frankly cannot imagine why she is seeking to make out that Trump made sexual advances on her. Not only did he not do so, and I was present at all times, never took my eyes off her body for a second. No, but it was she that was the one being flirtatious, Anthony Gilbert Thorpe said in a note provided to the Post by the Trump campaign. So they make it look out in the beginning of this like he reached out to the paper saying, hey, this is not, cool, when he really reached out to the Trump campaign and they put him forward as witness. Okay, Gilbert Thorpe insists that Leeds was the one, quote, trying too hard and that she confessed to him that she wanted to marry Trump. Reports suggest that Gilbert Thorpe would have been around 18 years old when at the time of the flight. He has no evidence he was on the flight, and this is a quote, just his self-described excellent memory. I have the best memory. I can remember everything. Wait, who's that? And speaking of excellent memories, here's one from the UK Mirror in July 2014. Senior Tory cabinet ministers were supplied with underage boys for sex parties, it is sensationally claimed. Former conservative activist Anthony Gilbert Thorpe said he told Margaret Thatcher 25 years ago about what he had witnessed and gave her names of those involved. His allegations that he saw top Tories having sex with boys comes after David Cameron launched a government inquiry into claims of a cover-up. Anthony, 52, said, I'm prepared to speak to the inquiry. I believe I am a key witness. Trolling seedy streets during a Tory conference, Gilbert Thorpe says he was asked to find underage rent boys for a private sex party at a top hotel. So this guy is essentially either making up a lie or confessing that he pimped underage boys to older men, and therefore that makes him a credible witness, or he was asked flippantly to do so and went, yeah, okay, I guess I'll do that. Like Scrooge leaned out of a window and flicked him a gold coin. Your fattest goose and your smallest boy for this Christmas morning, young lad. Run to the market and find me a 10-year-old. Like, what?
Holy crap.
What? Okay, now here's the best part. At one point, he sued a newspaper in England for running a story that he had AIDS. And he won. And then it was later found out by investigators of the paper that he was the one who planted the story in the first place.
What?
And they sued him and got the money back. And they ended up settling so they wouldn't have to deal with it, just paying some of his legal expenses just to get it over with, because they didn't want to drag it through again. Mainly that they didn't do this before. They were embarrassed by that fact, essentially.
Oh, amazing.
So this is their key witness. Now, and his testimony erases all the women that are coming forth that have said this, according to Trump and Mike Pence, which is the amazing part. Not so much Trump, but Mike Pence saying that this is enough for him.
Oh, Mike Pence is walking around just dying for people to tell him what he needs to hear.
Oh, yeah.
Like, this can't be so. Just tell me something good. Tell me something good. Okay,
yeah.
All right. You'll put it all to rest? Okay, all right. I can say that.
Well, and he also, he's been all over the news saying basically that the election, like the polls are messed up, essentially. That it's not, that there's something wrong with the polls. Like, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Believe it.
Yeah. So, this is from Politico. And we'll take a call in just 1 second. And who do we have up first? Who should we go to first?
Oh, who do you think?
Oh, okay, Stephen the Gold goes. Yeah, so Pence, something missing from polls showing Trump trailing. Polls showing a widening gap between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump with just weeks to go until Election Day are missing something, Indiana Governor Mike Pence said Friday morning, because they failed to capture the enthusiasm the GOP candidate has stirred among Americans. Yeah, sure, there are only 15 people who admit that they can stand this dude, but there should be a bunch of exclamation marks after his name. Just, I love Trump! Like, yeah, you're still just one person. Sorry, one person, one vote. No, we don't believe that. We believe that, white, non-college educated males should automatically get like the old landowner vote, let's go back to a federalist system. Let's take some calls. Let's grab. I guess it's Steve from the Gold Coast first.
Line one,
excellent.
Steve.
Yeah. Hey,
Don't
Steve.
leave
Welcome.
me hanging, buddy.
Thank you. And I'll start with exactly the point that you just touched on, it's really easy to become sort of detached from reality when you say, you're a Trump supporter or you're in fact Trump. If you go to a Trump rally, it's filled with a bunch of people, perhaps 10, 20, 30,000. Except that, when you take that into context, that we live in a nation of over 320 million people, 30,000 really isn't that many people. So, the idea that, wow, I'm going to win. Why? Because, look at the thousands of people that have shown up at one of my rallies. Well, yeah, except that, again, the polls show that given the choice, more people would show up for the other person at their rallies than would show up for your rallies. So, it's this, again, delusional idea that you're going to win because a lot of people are telling you you're so great, and look at these people, they're demonstrative of the fact that I am great, so therefore I'm going to win. And, of course, you rationalize what the other side of your brain is telling you, which is, you know what, I'm going to lose. I know I'm going to lose. My VP pick, at the top of his agenda is, quite frankly, 20 at this point.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
and by the way, I think that got ruined this week. I think he was on the road to that during that, the beginning of the rough patch where he distanced himself from Trump and everybody was saying he might jump ship. The minute he doubled down and started protecting Donald, running interference on this stuff, that's gone. 2020, he has the stink of Trump on him for 2020. That's done. He almost had a window. If he'd have left because of when the initial tape came out and it was strained and he just kept to himself and became the kind of if he spent 2 weeks disenfranchised from Trump, still trying to raise money, talking about Republican issues, almost pulling a Paul Ryan, he might have been okay.
Yep.
Now I think that's not going to happen.
Right, and I think that's a tough choice for him because they sat down, in his war room. Trump has his, and his VP pick has his own war room, and his advisors, thought, all right, look, you distance yourself from him. Okay, there's a plus side to that. On the other hand, moving ahead, Republicans are going to attack you for, not standing by the party and being the guy who deserted, the man who picked you to be a VP. So that's not gonna play
Pick
very
your
well
poison.
4 years from now. Right, so it was a tough choice for him, but in either case, he's not at this point. His focus is not about getting Trump elected because he knows it's not going to happen.
Right.
It's about his political future, and I think that says a lot. Also, you're absolutely right with regard to this notion of the way in which Trump responds to these accusations. He should be in every textbook under Don Juanism. His responses to. I didn't sexually assault her. Why? Oh, look how unattractive she is. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm waiting for a cogent response. You can deny something in a way that, is actually, reasonable, such that, you could raise doubts in the minds of people who would contend that you've engaged in this sort of behavior. No. Donald Trump simply says, I didn't attack her. Why? Because she's unattractive. Donald, in case you've missed it over the last 30 years, something that we've all learned, sexual assault is not about sex. It's about power.
Yep.
Right.
And it has nothing to do with how attractive someone is. It's about one party exercising their power over another party vis-a-vis sexuality. And so this idea that, I'm not a rapist. Why? Well, because, I would only rape an attractive woman, is what he's saying.
Yeah.
Again,
as if only, and by the way, as if only attractive people get raped. Is the other absurdity of it. It falls apart on every measure. We have to take a break, Steve. Appreciate the call. We'll be back right after this. It's the Hal Sparks Radio Program, Mega Worldwide. Be right back.
How many?
We're coming back? Sorry.
Huh?
Zipped up.
How many?
I've got about 40 minutes left.
No, how many radios, mega worldwide do you have to do?
One.
One?
Mm-hmm.
I thought you already did one.
No, I'm doing it. This is one show.
1 minute.
So...
We have no sense of time.
More talking.
Mm-hmm.
Because you were just a little bit doing some other stuff.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Gotta go in the other room. Gotta go. You do that after. We'll say hi to everybody after, okay? Okay. Nope. Nope.
I want to see this.
No. Later. Say bye.
Now back to the Hal Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide, 773-763-9278.
Welcome back. So let's take another caller real quick because I want to make sure everybody gets in there.
Let us have a look at. We've got David in Sacramento on line 2.
Oh, right on. Hey, Dave, welcome.
Hi, I'm making a claim because I know the FCC. I'm going to be compliant. I'm being very careful.
Yeah, right.
So I know the things I can and cannot say. So I've read the FCC compliance. So I want to say is this. Oh, I get it now. So the polls, basically this whole election is rigged is when the polls are down. But when the polls are up, it's not rigged. And plus you got all this free advertisement. People are watching you on TV. You got about over millions, probably billions of dollars of free advertisement. And the election is rigged. Right. Trump about that one. Oh, I see. And all the supporters like Corey Lewandowski or this other people that make a joke out of him and support him for all the crap that he's done, he's so pathetic. And the other thing is what I'm saying, these supporters are nothing but a bunch of, trailer trash sitting in a bar complaining that their penis does not work. Those are the supporters are the ones that are supporting him. But you follow me?
Yeah. Well, the issue that I have, obviously, at a certain point, all of my problems with Trump are in a large degree magnified when discussing the people who are still supporting him, and especially vocal supporters. And that's why I think it's almost one of those situations where I know he's an adult, he's responsible for his actions, and therefore I'm not letting Trump off the hook. But Pence, arguably, at least in theory, should know better. You know what I mean? He doesn't live in this rich man's bubble with a golden toilet seat.
Right. I would be embarrassed. I called this a long time ago, about 3 months on this show, as well as out Chicago and everybody else on the West Coast and the East Coast radio station, that they said, oh, David, it looks like it's pretty close. It's going to be really close. I wouldn't call it now. I'm calling it now. It's over. He's done.
Yep.
Right now, Trump, as far as I'm concerned, Hillary is getting some rest right now, ready for her debate. But not only that, between now and the election, right now she's already putting together her cabinet. While he's moving backwards, we're moving forwards. We're putting all our cabinets together because we know she's got this in the bag.
Right.
I already know that for a fact. And it's all these people that were all trailer trash who are supporting him. Take your trash and go back to your trailer where you belong. And I don't want to hear nothing else other than that. But that's all I got to say.
Appreciate the call. Thank you. It's a tough one always when
there's a disenfranchised segment out there that a long time ago, when political correctness started to become the norm, felt like they were told that they couldn't behave the way that they've always behaved, and they didn't have an example of someone to teach them, okay, now learn about these people that you've minimized your entire life. They just took it as, well, I'm not allowed to do that now. And now these people are emotional about it because they have in Trump a leader who says, hey, I feel the same way. People have told me I can't be the way that I've always wanted to be. And there's nobody to offer them the example of, you know why you don't minimize that person? because of X, because they're just like you for this reason.
Right.
And it's the reality of the Trump supporter is not that, with all due respect, the trailer trash is not a popular subsect of the society, but it's more about fear and ignorance put right back on them.
That's right. Here's the thing. Hillary got in trouble for that basket of deplorables comment that she made, but she was actually trying to be, to be mitigatory in that she was saying
exactly. Yeah, it was totally taken out of context because she was like, there are some bad people.
Yeah, there's some awful people. There's some Nazis in there. Those people are irredeemable. They don't represent America because they believe in entrenched racial dividing lines. That's not what the American idea is about. And yeah, they're in there.
Trump would rather translate it and say she's saying that about all of you.
But what she was also saying was, but there are some that are reachable. There are a lot of his followers who feel disenfranchised. They feel left behind by the economy, and you can talk to them. They're just scared. They've been through a lot. They're looking for somebody to blame, and they're following this guy who they think will lead them in that direction. And quite frankly, the polls are pointing that she was right, that a good portion of those people are shifting, if not to her, to, like, if you look in Utah, there's a third-party candidate nobody's heard of. It's not Gary Johnson, it's not Jill Stein, who's probably going to come in second in that state. There's a chance Donald Trump will come in third in Utah. Yeah. It's like 26, 26, 22. And he's surging as Trump falls behind. And Utah, as a Mormon state, I was not a fan of
They're the
Romney.
only real religious right people out there right now.
That's right. That they really do hold that standard. And as much as I disagree with their attitudes about a lot of things, I definitely appreciate the concept of civility that they at least purport to carry. And it matters to them, which, should have value to Trump supporters, but does not. Here's the reality with, Trump's idea that it's rigged and that it's a conspiracy and that they're against you. There's a big Hillary was right in that there's a big portion of the society who blames immigrants for losing their job, but doesn't hate Mexicans. You know what I mean? They blame a loose border and corporations not having to verify who their workers are for why they lost their job.
South Carolina.
That's right. And guess what? A lot of them are right about that.
They're right.
That's right. But if they don't feel like, again, comprehensive immigration reform has been floated would get bipartisan support and would go through tomorrow if there was a vote on it. Period. End of story. Democrats and Republicans have been working on it, and it would solve a lot of these more egregious problems. And the E-Verify and other aspects of it that have been debatable over time would have a day in the sun to be discussed as a reality and a way of dealing with this once you deal with once you operate on a political standard where we're having a real discussion here. Instead of Mexicans, they're saying they're rapists, and some of them are nice people. Some, remember that, by the way. Pence wanted people to believe he said many of them. He said some, as in a minority.
Some of them, I assume,
are good people.
Are nice people.
Yeah, right. So the essence of what she's saying is that there is that group that deserves to be heard, and they don't feel like they've been serviced by this, and they look at affirmative action programs, for example, and with a certain element of jealousy. They feel left behind by the economy. They feel like other people are being given their jobs for crimes they themselves didn't commit. Perhaps their parents' did, and that's how they view it. And these people are reachable. And the irony is they benefit from a Democrat in office every single time.
Yep.
But the seed of not feeling like they're not heard and then looking for someone who does listen, and that person always having an element, as Trump is doing, of having the racist dog whistles throughout their entire campaign, the Pat Buchanans of the world, the clear us and them of the Romney campaign, even John McCain saying that one. It's this constant underlying theme that the Republican Party could break out of over the next couple of decades if it tried and could just go back to being the family values, fiscal conservative party like the tap the brakes. Let's make sure we think this through before we write a law. A lot of people feel that way, even who view themselves as Democrats. Most conservatives, essentially, Reagan, what would be effectively Reagan Republicans. A lot of them are becoming, Clinton Democrats. Let's see. We have to take a break in just a minute, so we'll take calls on the other side of this. But keep in mind, Hillary Clinton this week is out giving speeches on policy. And the debate is coming up this week, the last one. This is kind of extraordinary, too, because no one knows what to expect. I have a feeling that the ratings will be even lower after this one because I think a lot of people are sick of Trump and don't think it's funny anymore. Say again, sorry?
They have to be tired of it now.
Yeah, and so it was 80 million for the first one, 60 for the second one. It might bump back up a little bit because of how incendiary he was, but in a lot of ways, it's viewed as, an act of absurdity. He's depressing Republican votes all across the country. The internal polling that the Republicans that party people that I've spoken to, like, it's flop sweat time. They look like Hank Paulson in 2008. This thing is collapsing under the weight of their own mistakes. And they know it. The question is, what do you do? I'm in no hurry for the Republican Party to rebuild itself. And quite frankly, as far as third-party candidates go, there might be real value in, Libertarians and Green Party people voting Democratic this time around, completely collapsing the internal matrix of the Republican Party, and we end up having a three-party system of, Greens, Independents, and Libertarians, kind of sprouting up in its place, as a contrast and counter to the Democrats. And I think that's a reasonable expectation. I mean, I don't think Libertarians are real politicians, anyways. I think it's more of a disgruntled attitude than
they're just people who hate politics.
Yeah, they're just like, I hate government so much I want to run it poorly to show you how bad government is. That's there's a big chunk of the Republican Party that believes that. And maybe this is their way of capsizing the government. This could be. I don't want to float this conspiracy theory, but I don't know that the Republicans could get it together enough that make Trump effectively a way of capsizing the government for the final time. Susan Sarandon floated as much in her disgruntled attitude after, Bernie lost. So we'll be back. More of your calls, 773-763-9278. Yeah, Amos, the issue with coal is always an odd one, and those jobs are just gonna go away. End of story. And the idea that somehow that's something to be like, we gotta protect those kinds of jobs as opposed to taking care of the people and going, hey, how about we create a situation where they have a higher quality of jobs available to them like that, that are
1 minute.
That infrastructure jobs would be just as valuable. We're not going to run out of roads that need to be built or maintained, but coal dust in the sky we can do without.
Now back to the Hal Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide, 773-763-9278.
Welcome back. Let's take another call. Who do we have, Johnny B?
I'm looking forward to this. We've got Mark from Ohio on line 3.
You see what I did there? I kind of made both of you the same
Hey,
person.
great to talk to you again.
Yeah. Welcome. Go ahead.
Okay, a couple things. First, in the last hour you mentioned that Hitler clip that you'd seen. That is actually from a German movie called Downfall, and that particular scene has gotten so many gag subtitles that they're now called Hitler rants videos.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and also I wanted to say that one big difference between Republicans and Democrats is that we treat our sexual predators seriously. When was the last time you heard from Anthony Weiner or I forget who? I think his name was Williams. He was somebody's running mate.
Yeah, they go away.
Right.
The guy you talked about, Two Americas.
Right.
Yeah. He had a lot of good ideas, but I mean, he was cheating on his wife, and I mean, I don't think he's been heard from since. And whereas with the Republicans, they're welcome back to the party if anything bad ever happens to them in the first place.
Yeah, it's interesting that they create this, this idea that there's a double standard, or that it's literally selling on the idea that Democrats are morally ambiguous, that somehow are, the lack of a permeate Christianity means that their morals are up for grabs, on the Democratic side, that, that the idea that if you believe in choice, you don't believe in, in sin or proper behavior. And yet at the same time, Republicans will lock in behind people like Larry Craig and other people when they get busted, or David Vitter, for example. Or, if they want to hike the Appalachian Trail, it's the media's fault for picking on them. That's life. The media and the public should respect their privacy at this time. P.S. Anthony Weiner is, because he's a Democrat, should become a meme that taints the Democrats forever, as if it has anything to do with him. Like, and again, he's a great example of, his wife is an amazing woman, and the idea that somebody in the future might say, that initially because she stood by him, that, if she decided to run for office at some point, that she would somehow be suspect or disallowed is an absurdity.
Right.
And I think a lot of women take that very seriously, because that's, Huma Abedin, works very closely with Hillary Clinton. It's they think she's a member of the Muslim Brotherhood. They floated all kinds of horrible stuff about her. But the idea that at some point, if she decided to run for office somewhere, that she couldn't do it because of Anthony Weiner's behavior, and it's so hard to say his name in this context without laughing. Right? He took it as if he took a picture of himself with his kid in the bed next to him and sent a sext picture to somebody with his kid asleep in the bed next to him. That's creepy on a scale most of us can't measure. He sexted with a 15-year-old.
There you go.
You're done.
By the way, John Edwards, that's the name I was thinking of.
Oh, sure, yeah.
There you go.
John Edwards, yeah, he had a love child and, like a hidden love child and all that stuff. Completely, yeah. And the idea, by the way, I saw John Edwards, one of his campaign managers, on talking about this kind of thing because of the flagrant denials of the Trump campaign. This idea that, like, it's all fake and it's baloney or whatever. Like, yeah, we tried that. That didn't work. But you're absolutely right. I mean, it is a double standard. Appreciate the call. Let's grab another call before we get to the break. Absolutely. Thanks for calling back.
How about Cindy from Michigan?
Yeah. Hey, Cindy. Welcome.
Hi, Hal. Hi, Johnny.
Hey there.
There is an event that's coming up on Thursday before the last debate, which should be pretty interesting. The Al Smith dinner.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure, Hal, you know what the Al Smith dinner is.
Right.
The Catholic Charities or something in New York, and they raise money, and Cardinal Dolan will be there. Everybody gets dressed up. And they do televise it, usually on MSNBC or C-SPAN.
And it's
a big political deal. And so I am very curious to see who's going to write Trump's material, because he's supposed to tell jokes.
See, do you think he's actually going to show?
They're showing promos on MSNBC showing both people. Haven't heard anything about who's not going to be there, who's going to be there. Hillary Clinton will be there, but he's apparently hasn't said he's not going to be there, so that should be quite interesting. That's before the debate, so he can fall apart there as well. But I'm kind of wondering who's going to write his material, because you're supposed to be real sharp. You're supposed to be with it.
I wouldn't hold my breath. The idea that they would both show up to that kind of optional experience at this point, because some people are debating whether or not he'll actually go to the debate itself. That's been floated again. So I mean, it would kind of be amazing to see. I don't know that anybody wants to write his material. You know what I mean? Like,
well, he is the joke.
Well, he's not. He's not self-deprecating. That was, one of the. There's an article that just came out
about the Trump roast.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Comedy Central.
Yeah. There's a whole back thing about what was, what was off limits when they were joking about him. You go into one of these Comedy Central roasts and you provide, like, for example, everybody has the opportunity to say what's off limits. Okay.
Right.
And one of the examples given was William Shatner's wife, who had passed away. And when he did it, he went, okay, no jokes about that. No jokes about my dead wife. Thank you. Don't go there, because they will. If it's on the table, anything, I think even at I want to say the Nikki Sixx or the Vince Neil one, there was a kid who had drowned, remember, at that, or was it Tommy Lee's house?
Yeah, Tommy Lee.
Yeah, there was a reference. I mean, they referenced that because he never thought to say don't make jokes
so
about.
Many horrible things have happened in his life. He forgot one.
Yeah, I mean, that's violent. That's a horrible experience to have in your life, and to make jokes about it is pretty nasty. But usually you think ahead and go, look, yeah, don't make any jokes about that, okay? And I think that's reasonable. I think when Shatner asked for that, that's reasonable. Trump said, don't make any jokes about the fact that I might not be worth as much money.
Yep.
As you said. That was his off limits. You know why? Because that's true.
Yep.
Donald Trump is broke. Donald Trump is spending other people's money through his charity and his campaign to pay his bills on his flagging businesses. He lies about his investment levels. He's been bailed out by his father multiple times in levels that are embarrassing. Even by George W. Bush, our Busto standards. To me, the chance of him showing up at the Al Smith dinner, very slim. Apparently, he made an appearance in the Wall Street movie, the second Wall Street movie.
Oh, really?
A little cameo in it, and the scene was cut And he, like had these rules, like he has to be bathed in golden light to bring out the golden tones in his skin
Holy
and to
moly.
accent his jawline, like these weird, like Betty Davis at 85 rules about how to be lit, like like Barbara Streisand's Rider back in the day or whatever,
Right, or like a moonlighting with Sybil Shepherd.
Right. Yeah. This, the Vaseline on the lens, and so he definitely has these limits. The most amazing thing is, what are you not comfortable with people, joking with about you, and in general, if they make fun of you about something, how do you react? That is directly proportional to how much you believe it's true. If you got thin skin about a particular issue being joked about, you suspect it might be real.
Yep.
Even if it's just an emotion, you may be completely rich, but part of your. I'm sure there are rich people who always feel broke. You know what I mean? There are people. There's skinflints.
And John Mulaney has a great bit about how 13-year-olds are the most frightening people because they call out the thing that they know, they can sense what you're most sensitive about.
Yeah.
And they, like some group hollered to him, "Look at that man and his feminine hips." Hey.
But that's, and your reaction to it is, it is funny. Like when I don't even know how to word this without coming across as a jerk to some degree, but and it shouldn't be,
Good
but it's
luck with
true.
that.
It's, I'm not a stupid person. I'm very smart. I read, I caretake my brain and what goes into it. I make sure that I am informed. I try to use my best judgment. I attempt to be dispassionate about things I am ignorant about. I make an effort. So when somebody calls me stupid on Twitter, I think it's hilarious. You know what I mean? Like I don't care. It doesn't have the impact they are hoping for, and I have a bit of fun with people who do that because I know that's their problem, not mine. They've come up with the best insult they can come up with to dig at me, and it's the one that bugs them. They think they're kind of stupid. So that's, and people will give you a window into their insight. Whatever they're yelling at you, that eventually if you let them keep yelling, they'll start telling you what's going on. And I think a lot of this the system is rigged. Is them him talking from the inside of the Republican Party, like they've got this whole thing set up to disenfranchise voters. Why am I not getting the benefit of that?
And it's not working.
Yeah. It's rigged. It's supposed to be rigged so that I can win. Like that's effectively what he's saying. Let's take a break. We'll take. I think we got a couple more calls.
We do. We have two more.
Okay, yeah. We'll grab them on the other side of this break, and then we'll have the happy ending. Which I've got a couple of them. One involves Megyn Kelly, and the other one is a little kind of more standard fare. We'll be back right after this. Hey, Philly Dally. Some of us old folks don't care what I do. Yeah, at a certain point, you just develop a thick skin. One would think. I mean, the guy's 70. Yeah. Cool. Thanks, Billy. Dilly Dally? Is that what it is? Dilly Dally. Okay, I couldn't see the P. Yeah. It's okay, EO. If they like it, they're a kid, and leave them alone. It's fine. It's okay. Okay, I'll make that the happy ending. See if he wants to do it. I'm in an undisclosed location in a hidden bunker.
Welcome back to the Hal Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide. It's now time for the happy ending.
Let's grab a couple calls. Everybody, keep it high and tight if you can. Get to your point so we can allow the other person to be on. Who do we have?
Hey, so we got Billy from the chat room on line 5.
Oh, right on. Welcome back, Billy.
Hey, Al, how's it going?
Good.
Billy. Wanted to bring us back to ground again as far as the Democratic Party goes, because we still are shooting ourselves in the foot every time we get a chance. I was listening to a program Thursday morning, and they were a liberal program. They were talking about, all these bad WikiLeaks. What don't you think it's really terrible what the people in Hillary's campaign said about Sanders' campaign? Like, we got to go over that ground again.
Mm-hmm.
And they actually asked the guy 3 times to comment on him before he finally said, well, anybody in the Sanders campaign already knew about this stuff, as if they were really surprised that the insiders were against him and not for Hillary. We got to quit doing this ourselves. The Republicans are still falling in line behind Trump, even though they hate him, can't say anything nice about him. They're still falling in line, and we're still fighting battles about the campaign from before now that we don't need to be fighting. We need to make sure we not only get Trump, but we get the down ticket ballot so Clinton and the Democrats will be able to do the things that the Sanders people want.
I agree. That's why I think it should be a trouncing, and I think that's why even though she's obviously strongly ahead, they're pushing for states like Utah and others, Arizona, Florida, Georgia, even. And I think the Democrats are pushing for those because they do know about that down ticket aspect of it. That's why the president is out there, like why they're doing the full court press, because they can see that this improves it. And he's very popular right now. And so the idea that she would continue his policies and add some of her own, as you would do as if you were the member of the same party of the last president anyways, one would think you would kind of want to continue things and improve on them.
You'd think.
Yeah. Appreciate the call. I think you're absolutely right, and I think we got it. That's why it's got to be full steam ahead. Let's have the next one. Who do we have, Johnny?
The last call, Paul from Seattle.
Oh, right on.
Paul.
Hey, Paul, welcome.
Oh, what an honor.
Yes.
This is really the October no surprise, isn't it?
And it really is. When this happened, when everything came down, Paul, I swear to you, I was talking to my wife as I kept hearing this story repeat over and over on NPR, and I said, why this one? Why is this one catching hold? Doesn't everybody know this already? But for some reason, it took hold.
Well, here's the two things that I have is, one is that he said that grabbing women, and he didn't say it in an allegorical way. He said it in a specific way. If he'd have said, honestly, if he'd have said you could practically grab them by the blah, 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 and they'd be okay with it because you're a star, that's speaking allegorically. He could have gotten out of that, but he didn't. He said
shooting
it
somebody, like shooting a gun down Fifth Avenue.
Yeah, he said it like he really, he did it. He does it. He's for it. That's how it should go. He believes that. And so...
And why I say it's no surprise is, who knew that Megyn Kelly's first question out of the chute would be so telling? Except we all knew. We all have known from the very beginning that, for 30 years at least, as far as I'm concerned, that Donald Trump is a pig.
Yes.
You can use that word anyway, apply it anyway. He's a pig. He's a misogynist. He's a racist, a bigot, a shystermeister, a draft dodger, a tax dodger. He's all these things that we've all known, and yet we put ourselves through this travesty
farce
of a campaign. Travesty is a word with too much gravitas for that. It's
agree.
pathetic. It's just too pathetic. And we had to put ourselves through this. And like you're saying, Mike Pence and the people that stick by him, they had all their chances to jump off the train. They had their chances to jump off. And I have to say this, Al, the states that Donald Trump wins in this election, we have to consider to be the new Confederacy. They're the people. They're not.
If you're that far down the road, yeah, I see what you mean. Well, I think that's what she was trying to say with the concepts of the deplorables and that kind of stuff. Like some of these people are going to go down with this ship because they really do believe this. It's not even that they care about the American job market. It's that they hate Mexicans that much, or they think women shouldn't have the vote. This whole repeal the 19th thing that popped up in response is indicative of who he is. Yeah.
It's Hillary Clinton derangement. They hate Hillary Clinton, and when you get so deranged about hating somebody, literally that you got people saying she smells like sulfur,
right?
And Ben Carson demonizing her at the Republican convention. When you go that far down the road, when you look that nuts, you almost can't take it back, or you look like you're even more nuts.
Right, or that you were just who panders to that level of egregious racism and sexism. You know what I mean? I was just using that as a tool. What kind of serial killer mentality do you have to have to say that that's okay? It's one thing to be completely nuts.
It's just where I'm coming from.
Yeah, right. It's one thing to believe those things and be wrong.
Yeah, Obama
it's another
said
thing
he
to
actually-
use stuff that's that wrong to get your agenda through. Like that's
Did you hear Obama say, I actually respect the people who actually believe this stuff?
Because they're at least broken or upset or uninformed.
Or
they
upset.
can be fixed. The other person is completely untrustworthy forever.
Yep. Oh, and thank you, Paul, by the way.
Yeah,
for the call.
appreciate it. Okay. We're down to that happy ending or whatever. This is
I want to hear your Megyn Kelly.
Yeah,
happy
I'll
ending.
just play a little bit of it, but this is pretty
attorney and Donald Trump supporter, and Julie Roginski, Democratic strategist and Fox News contributor. Good to see you both.
Good to see you, Megyn.
Hi, Megyn. So, David, you and I are both lawyers. You still practice law. I don't.
But you still know your stuff, Megyn.
The problem is we don't know whether this is true. And Donald Trump is being accused and tried in the court of public opinion. And we can't really we can't know what the truth is. There's not going to be a judge or a jury to resolve this before November 8th. But if what these women say is true, then we're not just dealing with a flawed presidential candidate. We're dealing with a sexual predator.
Yeah. Megyn Kelly went all in that segment. I don't have enough time to play the whole thing. It's on Raw Story if you want to watch it. And he tried to push back this nonsense of, well, these women are just, are not to be believed. And you're like, well, you can't have it both ways. You can't say that Clinton's accusers are completely to be believed, have to come forward. One of them waited 20 years to bring up what happened, and you're saying that this, that the women who waited this long, and by the way, I tweeted this yesterday, but didn't we just deal with this why'd they wait so long nonsense when we were dealing with priests molesting boys? It's not germane to the argument. And the more violent...
Pennsylvania,
yes,
the Pennsylvania coach.
Spotlight, Sandusky, this idea that, especially if you're going to make it worse for them, if you're going to say, why don't these women come out sooner? P.S. They're ugly and dumb, and I would never do it, and they're liars, and they're horrible people, but why don't people come forward sooner?
That is Lionel Richie's worst ballad, by the way. P.S. You're ugly and dumb.
Yeah,
I have no idea why he thought that would catch on. Come on, man.
Okay, we're getting close to the happy ending. I want to try and get Camden to say, come on, man. That's my thing. Camden, come here. Come here for a second. I need you to say something on the radio, okay?
Come here, little monkey.
Yeah.
Perform.
I need you to say, everybody wants to hear you go, come on, man.
Come on, man.
Yes.
Yes. Here, get up here closer to the mic so they can hear you better.
One more time.
Come
on, man.
He says he's a populist now.
Come on, man.
He says he's going to work and fight for working people.
Come on, man.
He's going to be out there. He's going to be out there taking care women and making sure that their rights get taken care of and people get everything that they need.
Come on, man.
How can you not love this?
Oh, it's so amazing and makes me so happy on so many fronts. That Camden's just decided he's going to be a populist now. Is that what's up?
Come on, man.
He's in the groove now.
Yeah, he totally is. We'll get a big sample of that we're going to carry on the show.
Come on, man.
Long after the election, we're going to be playing that.
We're going to be
Kevin.
playing
Thank
that,
you.
absolutely. That'll be our Paul Ryan thing. When Paul Ryan goes, hey, I wasn't really supporting Donald Trump all that time. I just needed to do what was right for the party.
Come on, man.
That's right.
No, I was just doing what was right. I was Mike Pence. I was planning on running in 2020, but I was just picked to be the VP, and I was just honored to be there.
Come on, man.
He's going to lose his voice.
No, he won't. He's got plenty in the tank, believe me. This isn't even a volume he's used to. This is the Hal Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide, you've been listening to. Thank you guys so much. Look forward to talking to you after the debates. We'll be talking about it next Saturday. Johnny Million, you are awesome. If you have absolutely any possibility of joining us next week, we would love to have you to do a post-debate wrap-up. Thank you, Lady B. You guys are amazing. Thank you, everybody. Yeah, Driftglass in the chat says that's my new ringtone. Come on, man.
Excellent.
Come on, man. Come on, man.
Right. We'll see you next time.
Good luck
Thank
with
you
that
guys
for
so
the rest
much.
of the day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Are you done?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Oh, it's so funny.
Why do you make me say that?
Oh, because it was a joke. We were telling. No. Thank you. That's a hanger. Thank you. Be careful. Okay. You say bye to everybody?
Bye, baby.
Bye, baby. Thank you guys. I'll see you later. We're gonna go have some fun. Come on, man. Yeah, he gives it a bit of a southern drawl because that's how he did it. Yeah. Yeah. So, anyways, you guys are awesome. Thanks, everybody. Give Johnny some big love this week too on Twitter at JMillion. Thank you guys so much. Like and subscribe. Really appreciate it, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye, everybody. See you later. Bye.